Welcome to episode 8 of the Zelda Book Club. We're finishing up the main story of the Ocarina of Time manga with the chapters Ganondorf Defeated and A New Journey Begins. The first image of the page is awesome. It's just the castle. We get a little bit of Ganondorf's backstory, kind of what you get in the game.
Every 100 years, a male is born, but he wasn't satisfied with just ruling over the Gerudo. He wanted the whole world.
One thing I noticed was now every time you see Nabooru, she's still got the broken jewel on her forehead.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
It's a nice little detail there. So they're heading off to the castle, like in the previous chapter. Ganondorf beckoned Link, challenged him. Nabooru, she wants to come with. So I was wondering at this point, after all the other boss fights we've had, the sage that's associated with it was awakened immediately. At this point, shouldn't Nabooru...
Right.
But instead it happens...
Right, outside of Ganon's castle. And even back when Link fought Dark Link in Kakariko Village, Impa didn't awaken as the Sage of Shadow. I think it made reference to it later on or something.
I'm not sure how that works in this book. They encounter some re-deads. We see some more enemies.
They make a comment of like, these guys are a joke. If Link encountered a re-dead when he first met Princess Zelda,
yeah,
that would have been a big deal. Link is just so powerful now.
Now this is when Nabooru awakens. And they build that bridge we've been talking about. They couldn't show in the black and white that it's a rainbow bridge, so...
I pictured it as a rainbow.
They put some sparkles on it, and it said like sparkle or something like that. And then Link just sprints to Ganondorf. We see some more enemies. We see some fire keys.
As soon as he crosses the bridge, the next panel is basically walking up the stairs.
Yeah, there's none of the trials or anything like that. I like his line where he's like, the Triforce wants to be whole again. We don't really see anywhere previously in the book them referencing like Link having the Triforce or anything, but you know, Ganondorf kind of reveals to him like, yeah, you didn't realize this, but... It's
very much in line from the game. The scene is, he's playing the organ, and Princess Zelda's in her crystal, just floating up above.
They have like some intense stare down, and Ganondorf shoots some waves of darkness that Navi can't get by. Even compared to some previous chapters, these two like almost follow the game way closer than any of the other chapters.
I felt like I was reading a playthrough of the game,
which was
and there was actually not that many words in a lot of these panels for the next several pages. It's hard to put into words just sword fighting or battling.
Yeah, a lot of action shots that were cool to see translated from the game, that some of the lightning or whatever, and him punching the ground like you would do in the game.
I had to stare at a panel a bit just to try to figure out what is going on.
Yeah, I kind of like it though. It's hard to process at first, but I like the chaos of it almost.
Well, like when he punched the ground, I'm like, is that sort of like the battle? But then it doesn't really show that in the next panel at all.
That's the sword fight here, which does not happen.
Right, yeah. Ganondorf's sword is nothing special. It looked like the Master Sword.
I like the final blow he did where he was charging out his bigger one, and he's basically like, you know, you can't block this. He does the spin attack.
Which it just says, spin attack.
Spin attack, yeah. I like that because that's like what you can do in the game to hit that one big one he sends, or it's like multiple balls of whatever darkness, and you do the spin attack, and it'll, if you do it at the right time, it'll
all of them right back at him.
Yeah, but yeah, he defeated Ganondorf. That was the whole chapter, right?
Spoilers in the name of the chapter, and the chapter just ends right there. The last two chapters could have just really been one chapter. No time goes by between the chapters, and so it picks up in the final chapter, titled
A New Journey Begins,
and the castle is collapsing. They kind of just escape the castle right away, and then they have the scene of the collapsed castle, and it's almost picture perfect to what it looks like from the game as well, like the diagonal broken pillar. When
Ganon arises, I like the line Zelda says. She says, the Triforce of power has gone out of control. It's filled with Ganon's hate for Link.
I don't think they ever actually mention Ganon.
Which makes sense. Why would they just be like, yeah, that's Ganon? Right? Why would they call it that?
I don't know. He's not a dwarf anymore. What did you think of Ganon's like character model?
I thought he looked similar to the game. I didn't notice anything.
It did look very similar to the game. I actually felt it looked slightly more pig-like.
I think some of the things in this, they're because it's not just the N64 graphics, they can be a little bit more expressive.
His Master Sword gets knocked away. Princess Zelda gets it, tosses it to him.
I like, before she tosses it to him, Navi goes, "It's time for Navi to fight."
Yeah.
Like, Navi's ready to get into it, but then she's like, dodges Zelda swinging the sword. That was pretty funny.
And then I think Navi gives you the advice that his tail is his weak spot, which is sort of like exactly what Navi would say in the game.
There's some line where Zelda's like, "Can you hear the Master Sword is trying to communicate with you?" It would have been cool if I showed up.
Keep in mind, this was written in like 2000. I don't remember the year this was published.
Way
before Skyward Sword.
But it actually works. That was pretty cool. They say the Master Sword is now at maximum power, which only one other time in the book we have heard about the power level of the Master Sword, which is when he first got it. Remember, he used it to kill the Poe. And they said, "Oh, you've drained the power of the Master Sword." And then it never came back until now. Thought that was a little annoying. But
yeah, why even mention it?
It would have been good enough to just be like, "You need training," like they said, and then be like, "Yeah, it's the Master Sword. Kill him with it." So yeah, he beats Ganon.
It's got the iconic scene of him stabbing him right in the forehead.
We did come down on the sages a little bit, saying that all they did is build a bridge.
Yeah.
But then I recalled while reading this, like, oh yeah, they also banish Ganon. Give him some credit, you know. After he beats him, instead of him and Zelda just being in some kind of weird blue sky plane, they're in Hyrule Field.
Zelda makes a reference like, "I'm sorry to drag you into this. You were fighting for..." I don't remember what she says, but Link is response, "No, I was fighting for you."
You know, there's a line where she's like, "Link, I love you."
I think that's Navi that says that.
Really?
It weirded me out a little bit. Maybe it's like one of those like, "I love my mother" type deal.
I thought actually that this manga supports the idea of a split timeline more so than the game actually does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this, Zelda says,
it's a time of peace. We don't need a hero. It implies that timeline still, like that set of time continues onward.
I don't know much about where a lot of these theories come from, but I wonder if people start off with the manga with some of the ideas they get.
It's not Nintendo making the manga, but it could be like sort of just retcon a little bit. Well, so in this game, Wind Waker came out right around the same time this manga came out. Wind Waker and Majora's Mask are in separate timelines. So, you know, maybe they were including more details about that here.
I thought one thing that you would probably notice was when they're kind of showing Hyrule at peace. We get to see Mido once more.
Yeah, we got to see Mido. Well, now the Deku Sprout was born.
Yeah, that was interesting, because that normally doesn't happen till...
That happens after you beat the Forest Temple, I believe, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I think it's a sign of peace. And, like, it shows Hyrule Castle thriving again, and it's just like, ding, ding. You know, you can... Yeah, I'm, like, hearing the market theme in my head.
Of course.
So, it's like, everything's back to how it was before. Like, the Deku Tree is not alive, but... It's Sprout. It's like there's a new hope.
Well, then we get the end screen of the game where Link and Zelda re-meet. What do you think of these chapters?
Since they so closely followed the game, there's not too much to commentate about. Like what I started to really enjoy in some of the recent chapters was the complete diversion from what happens and what we know already. This brought it back to a more linear path where we knew exactly what was happening.
I didn't mind, like, in the earlier chapters, it followed the story closely, sort of, but we got new details. Like, for example, Mido coming into the Deku Tree or the Forest Temple.
Yeah, that was great. I love that.
There were some where it went completely off, and I didn't like that so much, just because not because it was different, because it made less sense, but then this was weird, because it was, like, just a copy.
When it went like off the rails a bit, it kept me very engaged. Whereas when I read, I didn't know if anything new was going to happen here. So in that sense, it almost felt like, oh, it just follows the game, and it was not as interesting to me. But it was still, you know, it has a set conclusion because they can't divert the ending. They can't, you know, make Ganondorf win.
Yeah, I was very intrigued by the titles thinking that, you know, maybe this new Journey Begins would have something new for us to see.
I was hoping for a more of a, okay, I called it a post-credits scene. More stuff in the peaceful world of what happens after the game. A little bit more.
It'd been nice to have like a teaser for Majora's Mask.
One of the side chapters focuses around the Skull Kid.
So we will get stuff with that. So yeah, that's what we thought about these chapters. It's kind of a short summary, but like we said, it was pretty close to the game. While we finish the main story, we are not done with this book.
The book club must continue.
There's 3 bonus stories with this, right?
Bonus chapters. There's a story with the Skull Kid, but it covers 2 chapters, and then there's a completely brand new story with new characters. That's 1 chapter. So 3 chapters, 2 stories, and we will cover that all in
one
in our next video.
I'm excited to see new characters.
Yeah, and plus with the Skull Kid, that's all new as well. Because you have very few interactions with Skull Kid in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, you just like play music.
Yeah, so and they have 2 chapters dedicated to it. So, I'm anxious to see where that goes.
Well, let us know in the comments what you thought about this episode, what you thought of these chapters, and stay tuned for the bonus chapters. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for watching the Zelda Book Club. We've got those bonus chapters coming soon, so that should be pretty awesome. If you want, you can click the subscribe icon here, and you can follow us, and you'll know whenever we have new videos. Also, if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy some other videos that we've made right over here. Check them out. Hopefully enjoy them, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon.